this one's a bit more esoteric. It's my word of the week. Supreme Court strikes down CHEVRON, curtailing power of federal agencies. Why this matters? When they tried implementing a vaccine mandate at the federal level for all companies with at least, 100 employees, it was under this precedent set by the Supreme Court, I think in 1984, that federal agencies can interpret the law as they choose. The ATF has used it to create bans on things like they tried banning the pistol braces, saying, you know what, we believe this is the case. And we argued this on the show. You can't just decide a law is. But that was the precedent. Supreme Court said no. Now it's going to be back to the courts. They say, by a vote of 6-3, the justices overruled the landmark decision Chevron v. Natural Resources Defense Council, which gave rise to the doctrine known as the Chevron doctrine. Under that doctrine, if Congress had not directly addressed the question at the center of the dispute, a court was required to uphold the agency's interpretation of the statute as long as it was reasonable. But in a 35-page ruling, Chief Justice John Roberts said it was fundamentally misguided. Elena Kagan dissented in an opinion joined by Justices Sonia Sotomayor, Ketanji Brown Jackson. Notice it's always the evil justices, the left ones who are trying to. In what reality is it constitutional to accept that a bureaucratic agency can make law? The ATF said, we hereby decree pistol braces illegal, and if you own them, you will go to prison. So you know what we had to do when they passed this rule? I said, okay, I talked to my lawyer, and he says, take the braces off and remove them. Separate them from the domicile in which they are stored, and then you are allowed to have them, just not attached to the weapon. So I have to make these changes based on the federal government bureaucracy decreeing that is not how this country is supposed to operate. Surprise, surprise, the liberal justices are evil. But there you go. There you go. They say, although the Chevron decision upheld Reagan-era EPA interpretation of the Clean Air Act, blah, 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 was generally hailed by conservatives at the time, the ruling eventually became a target of those seeking to curtail the administrative state. And so here we are. This may be, ladies and gentlemen, one of the biggest changes to happen in government, one of the biggest victories for those that believe in freedom and oppose big government. The idea that the agencies now cannot act of their own whim. Did you get it?
No, dang it. I'm too slow with the pillow, sorry.
But now it's your turn to talk. So
we're talking about the three-letter agencies. Fly, F-L-Y, should die. No. I don't know. The Ketanji Brown Jackson doesn't even know what a woman is. She's not a biologist. So,
basically, this means if the ATF wants to ban something, they can't just do it. They can't issue an executive rule where they're like, you can't have. They said you can't have short-barreled rifles. So we think pistol braces are. Nope. Now they're going to have to be like, we can't do that. Congress has to act. And the courts have to decide.
The next is to repeal the NFA completely. Because all gun laws are fake and gay.
Well, I think I'm hoping that Hunter Biden can actually get a lot of this overturned. If Hunter Biden... I got him.
You got it.
I got him.
I saw it zap.
Somewhere Mike Pence
Did you hear
is
that?
crying.
Yeah,
Did you hear the snap?
Yeah.
Saw it.
Anyway, what were we talking about? I got the fly.
Hunter Biden's going to save gun laws in America.
Yeah, someone explain that. I'm going to check on the fly.
Okay, I will, but I any 2A person in the audience knows I'm going to fumble this, but I support you guys. I hope you're doing well. So Hunter Biden was convicted of falsely filling out this federal form because it said, are you addicted to drugs? And he said, no, not currently, even though he had just gotten out of rehab and was about to go buy crack cocaine, but I digress. But the argument is that the form is unconstitutional. It violates Second Amendment rights, which I actually sympathize with enormously. And it's this weird dynamic now where Hunter Biden has been convicted of something, but actually a lot of conservatives feel as though the crime on which he was convicted is actually unconstitutional. And so hypothetically, he is now, his appeal on this case, which again, hypothetically could go all the way to the Supreme Court and challenge this law that he has been convicted on, would be backed by 2A people, but have Hunter Biden as the poster child as he turns around and says, get away from me, I'm a Democrat. It's fascinating.
So this thing's got a button on it, and when you press it, there's metal on the outside protecting you, but in the inside. So the fly was still alive when I went down there.
Oh, wow.
It was trying to get up. And so you press the button, and I whacked it, and you could see the spark. And now it's done.
There was an additional
I've saved the show.
There was an additional Supreme Court case for 2A rights where, again, heroes, unsung heroes, right? Hunter Biden shouldn't be supposed to where he is. Another case was...
you don't get to pick them.
You don't get to pick them. They just, yeah. So another case was there was a guy, domestic abuse, red flag, they took his guns. But that's not, you can't do that. That's not been passed, right?
Well,
So that's also a case they were hearing, and that might get overturned as well. Or even if you hit a girl, they can't come take your gun.
Well, it was that. So he had the case. At least when I read this one, because it was a man in Texas, and he had hypothetically. I'm afraid to speak on it too much because I don't know what the convictions have been like. But he had been, allegedly beaten his girlfriend up in a parking lot, and then threatened her with a gun afterwards, saying, if I'll attack you if you tell anyone. And he hadn't been convicted of anything, but there had been a domestic violence restraining order issued. And so the question was, like, if you have a DV restraining order, should you be allowed to have a gun? And Clarence Thomas was the lone dissent there. And he said, look, if he hasn't been convicted, we can't do anything, right? It's different if you have been convicted of a violent crime versus if you are just hypothetically accused of something. And I actually thought that was interesting because obviously the instinct is to be like, dude, if you beat up your girlfriend, you're a terrible person and you're a threat. But if you haven't been convicted, you are presumed innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah, they took all of my guns. Didn't even have a violent charge. All of them. And this was during the time.
Back?
Oh, yes. It took me quite a while. Now I buy a new gun every month.
Wow.
Your grocery bill and gun bill must
Yeah,
be very
I know. You got a gun for every kid.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, listen, the Second Amendment should be protected. These red flag laws, was it Eye Patch McCain loves red flag laws. I mean, it's ridiculous. But Joe Biden even says our guns are pointless because they can shoot us with F-16s. So I don't know.
Well, I love when he says stuff like that because it's the stupidest thing imaginable.
Yeah.
Are we on F-35s now?
Was it F-35?
Like,
I don't even
no,
know.
no, because he's mentioning 16s, but those were like 3 decades ago. We're on 35s now.
But I just like to, whenever they bring that up, I'm just like, Afghanistan called, Joe. Yeah, it's a bunch of goat herders in caves. It is ground forces that win wars. You can clear the battlefield. You can gain control. You can take out infrastructure with powerful siege weapons. But you need human beings to do the groundwork. Biden has no idea what he's talking about. It's the stupidest talking point ever.
Well, what about all those videos in Russia and Ukraine of them using drones to kill each other? Do you think that's the future of warfare?
That will not secure. So sending in, it is. And I warned the government. I literally warned the government 13 years ago, 12 years ago, when I was part of the North American Drone Coalition or whatever. We were doing some of the earliest drone work with these consumer grade drones that we were hacking to broadcast video. And I got asked by the U.S. government and universities who are trying to figure out how consumer-grade drones are going to affect everything. So we were trying to figure out, what do we do? How do we handle this? How should they operate? What are the rules? And the first thing I told them was, I think you guys need to consider what happens when someone with a range of 3 miles launches one of these things into a city. There's no way to stop it. And if it's carrying something, let's just say dangerous, like, how do you deal with that? And they were just like, we don't know. And I'm like, I got to be honest, you can't. Once that thing is launched and it's in the city, whatever they put on it, it's there. Even if you knock this thing down, if you blast it with microwaves, if you fire a net at it, if you launch confetti, if you get a tracking drone to chase after it, whatever it brought is there. So yes, however, let's say you got a nuclear power plant and you want to secure that. Ain't no drone's going to secure it for you. You need human beings. Now, drones make it easy to deal with human beings. But humans are going to create. I think actually combating drone warfare will be not too difficult. Scrambling, hacking, frying. You can easily get. Blinding these things. They don't fly well at night. It's very difficult. So I think there's ways to counter it. But if you want to secure a nuclear power plant, you're going to need some humans to go in the building and gain access to it, and that's all that matters. Your drone's not going to be able to do it.
What about AI taking people's jobs? What's a bigger threat, drone bombs or artificial intelligence ruining the world, Tim?
I think AI is the apocalypse.
I think it's a demonic supercomputer, basically.
I don't know about that. I just think that what's going to happen is, we were talking about OnlyFans earlier and how these women are basically removing themselves from a productive economy and they're producing nothing. Guys are then spending money. Like there's a certain amount of food in the economy, a certain amount of money. Money is used to buy the food. It's a representation of the value of the labor, but we now it now represents debt instead. And then money is created upon issuance of debt. So we're in this wacky system. This is why we have weird inflation. They set it up a long time ago. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. But I can tell you this, at the very least, you cannot exist in a system. This is a lesson for AOC as well when she calls for deficit spending. If the output is greater than the input, your system collapses. Thank you and have a nice day. So, the issue with AI, much like OnlyFans, is that you are going to have people, you're going to have, like, one of the first things I see happening is someone's going to create an AI that will give you whatever you want for money. And what's being value? What's the value? Like, what are you getting from it? Nothing. So let's start here. AI can mass produce photos and videos. The videos are getting incredible. And we're a year away from clean, clear video. Photos can already generate full text. That was a big thing they were screwing up with last year. Photographers, for music, background music and stock music, gone. I will never. It's done. It happened. We used to, 10 years ago, I remember going to these audio libraries. Epidemic Sound was a big one for YouTube. You'd spend X amount of dollars per month for a subscription to music you could use in your videos. Don't need it anymore. For free, or for like 10 cents, I go to suno.com and I type in hip hop, electric beat, and coffee commercial. And then it gives me a song. It's mine. I can use it. Nobody made it. Whoever has the AI is going to get the money, but it's going to start, this process starts centralizing revenue into the hands of a single corporation or one company that can produce all media. It's going to eliminate tons of jobs. People are going to end up, we're 3-4 years away. VR has gotten so great. You are going to open up your VR. You're going to put your headset on. You're going to be in your like you have a bedroom in your house. Maybe it's like 20 feet by 20 feet or whatever. You draw the lines in your VR so you know where your walls are. And then you say, AI game, give me a game where I'm a sheriff in the Wild West and the bandits are coming. And give me a good storyline with a great love interest. The video game itself will render and you'll be in VR. Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.